am very excited to be speaking with Bryn Bammer today. We are going to be talking about money and how the role of kink can sometimes play a very important part in couples' lives and their money. So, one of the questions that I really wanted to ask Bryn is, you know what? A lot of times when people think about kink, they're thinking about it's just something quietly done in a dungeon. But I would hope that you could share a little bit about more about what is kink and, what led you through this journey of perhaps a kink practitioner to becoming, as you call yourself, a money witch.
Yeah. So that's such a good question. What is kink? I mean, my definition of it is exploring power dynamics and pleasure and learning about ourselves, and also just, some people are just doing it to feel pleasure, which is amazing. I am super curious. My background is as a somatics practitioner. And in our work, we're always exploring our rage, our greed, the desire to hurt someone, the desire to be hurt, which is a part of kink.
Right.
And we're always curious, where is this coming from? Why do I get pleasure from wanting to hurt someone? Why do I get pleasure from wanting to be hurt? What maybe happened to me when I was young that has led to that? So I had this background as a somatic practitioner. I already have my clients putting on boxing gloves and punching stuff and screaming, but money wasn't really we weren't punching money yet. We are punching money now.
Okay.
And I was taking this spiritual business course where we were exploring how so many things are not real. She was having us read quantum physics papers about how time isn't real and like zooming way out. So if you get stressed out about a launch, you can kind of be like, I'm a speck in the universe. Like maybe my launch not going the way I want it to is like not the end of the world. And I was really
excellent point to reframe it too, because a lot of times when we're in our own mess, it is the end of the world and nobody's going to convince us differently until we take a different perspective. So I like that.
Yeah. And I was at that time really applying all of what I was learning in that course to money and to debt. In what ways is money not real? In what ways are debt not real? What did debt come from? Where did money come from? And just doing my own, doing the journaling prompts she was giving us and just realizing money doesn't abide by the laws of physics. I could give you $5,000 in 1 second. If I wanted to give you 5 pounds of muscle, I can't do that. And that's why people can get an inheritance overnight. They can get scammed, lose millions of dollars overnight. Yeah. And entire countries' currencies can go through crazy inflation and be devalued overnight.
True.
So it's much more malleable than we think. We apply the laws of physics to it because that's what we're used to. But sure. It's no longer backed by gold. There is no longer any physical, there's zeros and ones on these computer screens and a handshake that our ancestors made with each other that said money's real. So when human beings go extinct, so will money. It's not as real as we think it is. And I was doing all this writing, right? Crazy mad scientist at this big, beautiful library in Toronto, writing all this, having all these breakthroughs. And then I was walking home from the library and it just literally landed in my head, what if I applied kink to money?
I like this. Share more.
Yeah. So I wasn't in the kink world. And so I got another woman who was in the same course with me and we hopped on a Zoom and I was like, I have this idea. What do you think? And she was like, well, you could tie cash up with rope. You could put it in the corner and ignore it. You could whip it with a belt, or you could pee on money. And when she said pee on money, I felt tingles all over my body. I felt pleasure. I wanted to do it. And I also almost immediately felt shame too. Like, what is wrong with me that this is giving me tingles?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you're sharing how it's not just one sensation, because this is the thing that I notice as a listener of other people sharing their very personal stories, is that when you want to, if you will, come forward and share a story a little bit more publicly, you're just going to tell me the win story, right? You're just going to be like, and everything worked out because I was motivated, I'm a leader, da, 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 da. And I know that the world is much more opaque. And I know that money, it can be hidden in some interesting crevices within our psyche. So I love that the moment that you share, like, I just figured I could go pee on some credit cards. And you had like, oh, this is so exciting for me. And there are people in this audience who are going to be like, oh, but then they feel really weird or shame or something like that. So I want to just take that moment of like, there's a lot of bluffing that happens on social media, especially with money. But I love that you're sharing a completely fresh and honest perspective.
Yeah. So it took me a couple of days, and I just like went in my wallet and I had like a 20 and a 10 or whatever I had. And I put it in the bathtub and I squatted down and I peed on it, and I loved it. I fucking loved it. First time I did it. And it's a process. We wash the money. Okay. You can disinfect with Lysol if you're freaked out. I have been called a bio terrorist. I don't know what's going to get you in trouble on YouTube, but
I don't think that would do it.
You never know. I've got videos taken down and reported for a lot of things on TikTok more. But yeah, so for me, I was a people pleaser when I was a kid. And when I got my first job, I people pleased my boss to make money. And I was at the point where I was even people pleasing financial analysts I'd never met. I was I read like Overcoming Under Earning by Barbara Stanny, and I was trying to follow her formula to a T. Like I was like, how does Barbara Stanny want me to budget, and how does she think I should ask for a raise or whatever? So I was very much in this subservient mode to even my budget, my bank account, my lines of credit, like this financial universe that I am actually the boss of.
Right. So you were serving the money as your master. Isn't that interesting?
Yes. So for me, when I pee on money, it switches the power dynamic.
Yes.
You are not the boss of me. You are not controlling me. Shut the fuck up. Be humiliated. And then for me, the process of washing the money, putting it to dry, at the end, I like love it. I like genuinely feel love for the it just shifts my energy. So I was even embarrassed to like tell friends. Like it's a weird thing to text your friend.
It is weird. Let's just drop that right now. It is weird.
I texted one friend and I said, I did something kind of weird. I want to tell you, but I'm not ready. That was like fun. And then she, of course, was like, I love, I'm sure it was amazing, whatever you did. Like, she was like so supportive. So I definitely told the woman who was in the course who suggested it. She obviously was supportive. And then I started telling friends, and then I started talking about it on TikTok. And then I went viral on TikTok.
Wow.
And then I got a lot of people mad at me, and I went actually into another layer of shame, another shame spiral around it. I deleted TikTok. I was like, I don't even want to know. I hope more people don't, it was like 10,000 people have seen it. And then 30,000 people have seen the video. And then I was like, I hope no one else watches.
Yeah.
And the human brain is obsessed with itself. Like became self-centered to the point where I was like, oh my God, this person on the street probably saw my TikTok and probably thinks I'm a bioterrorist, and you know.
It's so interesting, that reframe. So I so appreciate the honesty here of like, the more everyone finds out about your secret in the bathtub, the more you get exposed. And I just want to say that that's one of the things about money and behavior, is that we always expose our motivations, because the money is where you're going to put it, usually like 90% of the time. So when I work with couples, my experience is that, there's often one person who might be kind of the good one with the money. They might be in control with the money, and they have the expectations with the money, and the other person may not maybe earn as much, may not be as responsible. And this is very common in relationships. We often marry our opposite, financially speaking. And so when this happens, there's going to be an argument somewhere down the road, or there's going to be sort of this crestfallen moment. I didn't know you were in that kind of debt, or I didn't know that you had a loan to your ex-boyfriend, et cetera, et cetera. Right. And so how does your work impact couples and help them?
Yeah, I think first of all, shame and the kinky money work are always, it goes together. Actually, when I teach workshops on this now, and I teach a workshop called 8 Kinky Rituals for Wealth, urination is not required. You want to do the one that gives you tingles. So it's not about copying what I did. Some people want to do that. Other people want to do their own. But I do a section on processing shame, because they go hand in hand. Yeah. And I think in the good one, the bad one of a couple, one person is trying to shame the other person perhaps is shaming themselves. And part of this work is processing the shame. Again, with the somatic work that I do, it's like, where does this come from? When did you start being the bad one, or calling yourself the bad one? Maybe you had to be the bad one to get attention from your parents. That's maybe when you were good, they ignored you, and because there were 5 other kids or whatever the situation was. And so if you wanted attention, which kids need attention, adults need attention, humans need attention, you had to act out and be the bad one. So maybe that's part of it. Or, there could be a number of reasons, but it's almost what I feel like the kinky money work does, and the work that I want to do in the world does, is like money is so fucking boring. I just have to say, like, budgeting, what you spend money on, what you shouldn't, like, it is not emotional. We get all our emotions entangled with it. I do. We all do. But when you're actually like making money decisions, it should be boring as fuck. But because I'm like attaching my self-worth to my net worth, suddenly it feels like life or death to pay off this debt, or prove my goodness through my financial goodness. And that can happen to the good one in the relationship too. Like perfectionism around money and holding yourself to this perfect standard, and maybe not having a lot of joy in your life because you're like, oh, I have to save and I have to have more in my 401k than my bestie at work or whatever, like that isn't, I think, what either of us are
about. Yeah. We're much more like, wait a minute, you've got to take a look at why you're doing this and find ways that you can feel good about what you're doing with your money, instead of constantly feeling like you're behind or ashamed or embarrassed or, not good enough, whatever it is, because deserving your money is the biggest tingle I've ever seen out of anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's like detaching, and like, I think that actually was like that original work that I was doing where it's like, money's not real. Debt's not real. Debt's like a handshake. And actually in the history, as far as I understand it, debt came before money. That's the original thing. It's like you would have a tab somewhere, you would have this where the grocery store or the bar or whatever would give you this loan, say like so-and-so took so much flour, they owe me whatever, a pair of shoes. So it's trying to not put, like, to untangle the morality with our numbers, our self-worth from our numbers. And then money can become fun. It can become a game. But when it is this heavy thing that if I don't make this amount of money or get out of debt by this date or whatever the goal
the
is,
pressure is not creating the change that people want. Right.
Yeah, and it's really hard to whip yourself into.
No, I would say you can. I just don't know if it's pleasurable.
You can't. You totally can, and some people do, and but it's definitely not pleasurable. And for me, it's more fun. This is like such a silly example, but it's more fun for me to go, oh, I'm not going to buy that thing at the drugstore that they want me to buy because I get to put the money here.
Yeah.
It's like fun as opposed to, oh, I shouldn't buy. Oh, bad, Bryn. I shouldn't buy that. I want to buy, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever new fancy blow dryer or candy or whatever. I shouldn't buy it. It's not as fun a life as going, oh, this is a game. I'm trying to get the money over here. I don't want to give it to you, big corporation.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I was thinking about from the kink world, and this is the red light, yellow light, green light. And a lot of times that's used in communication for certain situations. But what I find for money conversations is that if you maybe ask your partner or your spouse and say, Bryn, I need to have this conversation with you. Are you ready to talk about this? And you're like, I'm at a red light. I'm not even at a yellow. We got to talk about this when I'm at green. And now if it's an emergency, doesn't matter. You both got to deal with it. But as you just said, most of the time it's not to that level anyway. But checking in to ask for permission is a big step forward, because a lot of times what we've been taught is that there is a dominant person in the relationship and they're allowed to break through our boundaries of safety and communication and hit us hard with their, like, what happened? What did you do? What is going on? And that creates more like, than, oh, let me help you.
I love that so much. And it came in my mind as soon as you brought up the red light, yellow light, green light. I was like, do you want to buy this thing? Is it a red? Is it a yellow? Or is it a gray? Like, even just thinking about like budgeting, or like, which are my like green budget items that I like definitely want to spend money on? What are the things in my budget that are yellow that it's like, I kind of want to, but it's like,
yeah, maybe not. You're cautiously evaluating. So I don't want to forget this piece, but how could the kink curious, because I feel like there's definitely people who are like going to be watching this video later, but how can the kink curious connect with you?
Yeah, I think probably the best way is I have a free pre-recorded workshop called 8 Kinky Rituals for Wealth. It goes through 8 different options. You want to find the one that brings you tingles. You might create your own. Sometimes in my workshops, people are like, oh, I know what I want to do. It's it's something that I haven't even thought of. And that, gets you onto my mailing list. I start telling you what's up. That's probably a good place. Or if you prefer, I'm pretty active on Facebook and LinkedIn. So, those are probably the places if you just want to hear my random thoughts.
Random.
Yeah. Well, I talk about this stuff, but I talk about patriarchy. I talk about a million things.
Okay. Awesome. So Bryn, I'm so grateful that you came today and you shared your wisdom when it comes to kinky money tools. And I'm so excited for people to check out your wealth of knowledge. And, you want to talk to a money witch, talk to Bryn. And for those of you who are interested, this is the Money Podcast for couples, or I should say the Money Whisperers podcast for couples. And I would love it if you would like and subscribe this video. And I look forward to having another show with another very interesting guest. So thank you, everybody who showed up.
Yay!